For over 6 decades, Queen Elizabeth II reigned as a towering figure, embodying the principles of duty, tradition, and continuity. Her steady hand had steered the British monarchy through turbulent times, and the world watched as she faced the challenges of a rapidly changing world. Yet, as her reign neared its end, a question echoed across the halls of Buckingham Palace: what would her legacy truly be? Her reign was not just about the maintenance of power and wealth, it was about the family that would carry the monarchy into the future. But in the delicate balance of duty and personal ambition, where would her final wishes lead? As the news of Queen Elizabeth's passing spread across the globe, her family gathered at the heart of the British monarchy, the royal palace. The world held its breath as the royal family prepared to confront the inevitable, a reading of the Queen's will that could change everything. It wasn't just the inheritance of material possessions or wealth that was at stake, but the future direction of the monarchy itself. Who would be entrusted with the Queen's legacy? Would the family pull together, or would her death ignite even deeper tensions and divisions? In the somber silence of Buckingham Palace, the air was thick with anticipation. The royal family assembled in a private room, a place that had witnessed the most significant moments in the monarchy's history. The appointed legal advisor, a trusted figure in the royal circle, stood poised to begin the formal reading of the will. But then, in a move that no one saw coming, the Queen's wishes for who would read the will were revealed: Prince Andrew. For many, this was a shock. Prince Andrew, once a beloved and dynamic figure in royal life, had fallen from grace in recent years due to the scandal surrounding his association with Jeffrey Epstein. His public fall from favor had led to his removal from royal duties, and his reputation had been marred by controversy. Yet, in this final, defining moment, the Queen had entrusted him with this significant duty. Was this a sign of a mother's final act of reconciliation, or did it symbolize something more complex, an acknowledgement of his position within the family, despite everything? As the legal advisor handed Prince Andrew the Queen's will, a profound stillness descended upon the room. The prince hesitated, his fingers tracing the edge of the seal on the document. There was a weight to this moment, a moment of reckoning for both Andrew and the family he was about to address. The room was filled with expectation. What would the Queen's last words reveal? Would they bring clarity to the questions surrounding the future of the monarchy, or would they only deepen the mystery? When Prince Andrew finally broke the wax seal and began reading, the words were formal, as expected. The Queen's gratitude for the service and loyalty of her family was acknowledged. Her love for her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren was evident in the opening lines. But as he moved further into the will, the true significance of the Queen's decisions began to unfold. It was no surprise that Windsor Castle, the royal residence steeped in centuries of history, would pass to King Charles. After all, he was the new monarch, and Windsor had always been considered the heart of the royal family's residence. Yet, the moment that followed would send shockwaves through the room. Princess Anne, who had often been seen as the more practical and grounded member of the royal family, was named as the recipient of Sandringham estate. Gasps rippled through the family. Sandringham had long been associated with the Queen herself, a personal retreat for the monarch to enjoy time with her family and celebrate Christmas traditions. Many had assumed it would go to King Charles as part of his inheritance. Yet, Queen Elizabeth's decision to leave it to Princess Anne was a powerful gesture, a symbolic passing of responsibility to her daughter, who had steadfastly supported her mother throughout her reign. The Queen's decision raised more questions than answers. Did she intend to send a message to Charles? Was this a subtle hint that Anne would play a more central role in the future of the monarchy? The air in the room was thick with unspoken emotions as Andrew continued to read. The Queen's final instructions regarding Balmoral estate were even more unexpected. Rather than be passed on to King Charles as the new sovereign, the Queen had decreed that Balmoral would be shared among all the members of the family. This was an astonishing departure from royal tradition. Balmoral had long been a deeply personal estate for the Queen, a place of refuge from the public eye. Her decision to divide it equally among her family was seen as a desire for unity, a final plea for reconciliation between the often fractious members of the royal family. But how would this decision play out in practice? Would the family embrace this gesture, or would it sow further discord? Then came the most shocking revelation of all: the Queen's personal possessions. These were not just jewels or artifacts, but items of profound sentimental value. The Queen's most iconic pieces of jewelry, including the famous Vladimir tiara, which had been worn by generations of royal women, were set to pass to Princess Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge. This was no mere bequest of jewelry. This was a symbol of power, influence, and responsibility. The Vladimir tiara, worn by Catherine at state occasions and public appearances, was now a statement of her role as the future queen consort. For Princess Catherine, this inheritance was a powerful reminder of her place within the monarchy's future. But it was also a burden. The tiara was not just a beautiful piece of history, it was a symbol of the weight of royal duty, of the expectations placed upon her. The Queen's final act of passing on such a significant piece of royal history to Catherine was a message that could not be ignored. She was to be a central figure in the monarchy's ongoing legacy. The tiara was not just a physical heirloom, it was a beacon for Catherine's future role, a challenge to carry on the legacy of royal duty with grace and strength. As Andrew continued to read the will, there was another surprise, a final message for Prince Harry. After years of controversy and the couple's decision to step away from royal duties, many believed that Harry had been left out of the Queen's will. But instead, the Queen had bequeathed to Harry a ceremonial sword, once belonging to his great-grandfather, King George V. The sword was a symbol of royal authority, and its transfer to Harry was seen as a powerful gesture of inclusion, a reminder that, despite his distance from the core of royal life, Harry remained a part of the royal family's story. But what did this gesture really mean? Was it an olive branch, or a subtle challenge? Some speculated that it was a reminder of the royal responsibilities Harry had chosen to leave behind, while others saw it as a message from the Queen that family ties could not be severed so easily. With each passing clause, the Queen's will painted a picture of a monarchy that was evolving, one that was no longer bound by the rigid traditions of the past. Her final message was clear: the future of the monarchy lay in unity, strength, and the ability to adapt. The royal family, for all its history and grandeur, was not immune to the pressures of the modern world. In her last moments, Queen Elizabeth had shown that change, even within the monarchy, was not only inevitable but necessary. As the will came to a close, there was one final, haunting directive: above all, I ask for unity. These were the last words the Queen had left her family, and they reverberated through the room like a thunderclap. The question now was not whether the family would honor her wishes, but whether they could. The road ahead for the royal family was uncertain. King Charles, already facing immense challenges in his role as monarch, now had to navigate the shifting dynamics within his family. Would the divisions that had plagued the royal family for decades be healed, or would they deepen in the wake of the Queen's passing? In the end, Queen Elizabeth's will was not just a list of possessions, it was a roadmap for the future of the British monarchy. It was a challenge, a plea, and a powerful statement about the direction she believed the monarchy should take. Now, it was up to her family to decide whether to honor that legacy or let it slip into the past. What do you think of Queen Elizabeth's final decisions? Were they a visionary move to modernize the monarchy, or a risky gamble that could unravel the royal family's fragile unity? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're as fascinated by royal intrigue as we are, don't miss our next video, where we'll be delving even deeper into the personal dynamics of the royal family and what lies ahead for King Charles, Princess Anne, and Prince William. The drama is far from over.